Hello. Thank you for hitting that play button for another episode of the Heady Coleman Podcast, where I sit down with fabulous people to have go-win conversations. Go-win is being consistent in doing the right things that allow for you to achieve the wins that you have defined for your life so that you can live out your greatest story. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I pulled in a big dog, okay? Because that's just what I do. Sometimes you got to make that big dog call. And I made a big dog call to a friend that has become a friend over the last few months because we get the great opportunity to invest into different populations out there in the world who do things like foster care, adoption, just different things like that. But then I also found out that he just recently went to join the Langston University team, which I am alumni of. My wife's an alumni. My father's alumni. My mom went all the way and graduated from Langston University. I live in Guthrie, America, of course, right next door to Langston. Langston means the world to me. But Marlon, I just love your story, so I had to get you on the podcast and just to kind of share your journey, where you've been, just talk about how dynamic of a person you are, and just talk a little bit about fatherhood. So, Marlon, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I definitely appreciate your sentiments, man. And thank you for having me on here. I've always been an admirer of you. And then when I got to see you up close and personal by working with you, facilitating with you, it was all natural and great feeling to see you in the flesh to do it. And I had to control myself, man, because I'm like, man, this is Heady Coleman.
Yeah, stop.
No, I'm serious. You don't remember the first time I worked with you, and I was like, after the show, after we got done, I was like, right, man, can you show me how to present like that? I know you was like, who's this dude?
Marlon is a fabulous presenter, and he's just being super nice to me. No, man, but it's a joy to be able to do the work that we do.
No,
right?
It is. It's
like
a true joy.
It's such a joy, man. Well, let's just kind of start. Like, tell me how you ended up in that realm of doing that type of work, and that is facilitating, being an educator, and working with couples in the way that we do. Even though we go beyond couples now, how did you end up there?
Man, you'd be shocked if you would have known me years ago, Heady, because people would tell you that I was a quiet guy, wasn't voiceful, very shy. I probably weighed 100 pounds, didn't talk to people. But Langston University changed that for me via Upward Bound in the Army.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Langston molded me, the Army shaped me. And with both of them together, I was able to build confidence that I never thought I would have. So to answer your question, I got more confident in who I was because of that mantra from Langston to the world. I took that into the United States Army. After serving 23 years, came back home. I've always had an appeal or a sense of giving back because I didn't grow up with a father. I know it's something we're going to talk about, and I look forward to sharing that with you. But I never was able to get that from somebody, so I leaned heavily on mentors.
Got you.
And mentors invested in me. So I had that to get to where I was with investing in people. I always remember how people would give back and invest in me in some way, shape, or form. And that it made it easy, natural for me to do it because it's like I didn't feel like I owed it to them, but I did. But it was like, hey, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, reaching people that reached me and helped me get to where I am today.
That's good, man. Let's start with Upward Bound. Like, what grade were you in when you started going to Upward Bound, and kind of tell us what that experience did for you, like that itself.
It's funny, and everybody that knows me here, we share a lot of friends that you may or may not know from Guthrie, but it started for me in Bethany, Oklahoma, out there in London Square Village apartments. Man, I grew up there, where went to Greenville Elementary, and that was Western Heights District. It's funny because it was probably a handful of African Americans, blacks in the neighborhood, and I was just enough to make me real comfortable. But it was majority was Caucasian and Asian folks, which I was very comfortable with. Then we moved from Bethany and moved to the northwest side of town, and I ended up going to Northwest Classing. And I went home. I remember going home to my mom. I was like, "Mom, hold on. I don't know if this is gonna work," because I wasn't used to being around that many black folks. And it's crazy how I was not culturally aware of, I ain't gonna say my identity, but culturally aware of how comfortable I was with being 2 to 3 or 4 to 5 in a classroom of 30 or 25 people. And when I went to Northwest and I saw it was more than that,
yeah,
like, hold on, I'm out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
So Upper Bound, Langston University had the Upper Bound program, and they came to Northwest Class, and it's funny. I got a chance to speak about this when I was a featured speaker, keynote speaker at a couple of years at Langston. How I was not aware of what I wasn't aware of how privileged I was in a sense. I say the word privileged because I was privileged to be able to be surrounded by people like a Juanita Goff who told me you can be somebody. I had no intentions on joining Upper Bound, but then I heard they had a stipend.
Yeah.
So I would get a stipend. Yeah. I would get a they would come to my school and I get that stipend. So I only joined Upper Bound for the stipend, and then in the summer the stipend got bigger.
Yeah.
And we got to go to Langston. But what they did was help me create an environment, a sense of belief, of hope that I can exist in a college, going to college.
I got you.
Yeah, so it started getting beyond the stipend for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Upper Bound kind of helped you get a feel that, you know what, college is doable.
Right.
Yeah. And so whenever that time came to transition out of high school to go into college, you knew you were going to be capable of doing that. Now, from when you graduated high school, did you go to Langston?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you went from high school to LU, and you felt like you were at home.
I was at home.
Because you'd been going there for a number of years and spending summers down there and things like that. And so before we jump into college, tell me what else were some pivotal moments for you, maybe middle school, high school, that stand out to you now? Like, man, I remember because of this. You just talked about Juanita.
Juanita Goff.
Yeah, speaking it to you. Were there some other pivotal moments that kind of helped you, shape you, and you didn't even realize it, but until later?
I did. I didn't grow up. I grew up in a single-parent home. My dad probably showed up once a year, once every 2 or 3 years, and when he did, he put hands on moms, he'd leave, come back. So I was in. I would go to this recreation center, Melrose Recreation Center. It's on Council out there, and man, it's this guy named Tommy Smith, and I was so fortunate to reconnect with him here recently. He was the recreational director, and he was like a father figure to so many kids that we didn't have a father. He was a father figure, and he would hold us accountable. He would teach us things that we wasn't being taught at home. You know, Mom just taught us right from wrong. Tommy would teach us morals, values, integrity, character, and to believe in yourself, and that you can go out here and be a productive citizen. He taught us that stuff. So that was pivotal for me, my years with him. Then I transitioned to high school, and then I lost contact with Tommy. Then it was a coach, Leon Clark, who was a math teacher and a basketball coach at Northwest Classing, who invested. He kind of did just like a handoff and a relay. He picked up those years for me and told me you got to go be somebody.
You were privileged in the sense of like not everybody can have that story to where they've had that transition of mentors in their lives up through middle school and then high school. And that's really good. Go ahead and finish.
No, but yeah, it was. Those years from Tommy were invaluable because that shit, you know, when I was probably 8 to 14 years old. I was under those are your influential years. All right, then I went to, we start feeling ourselves. We get to high school, and you need somebody to kind of grab you by your shirt, you know what I'm saying, and tell
remind you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Coach Clark did that for me. So I joined up with Bound. I ended up saying going to a school that had it was diverse, but it had more African Americans than I was used to.
Yeah.
Then I had offers to go to OSU, scholarships to go to OSU, other universities, but I knew I wanted to go to Langston. It was funny how my dynamic changed from not wanting to go to be around my culture to say, hey, I went to a HBCU, and that took off for me. That took off for me because it made me identify who I was. It made me more. It helped me with my soft skills, my communication, teamwork, creativity, adaptability. We didn't know it was soft skills then.
Yeah.
But all those soft skills, interpersonal skills, how to talk and relate to anybody in any situation. Langston taught me that through Upper Bound and then through Langston. And then Langston didn't have an ROTC program, so they had a memorandum of understanding with UCO, so I was a part of their ROTC program.
Wait a second. So did you do ROTC while you were in high school?
No, Langston.
Okay, so ROTC was a new thing to you at Langston University, but you found out about it while you were okay. Got you. I didn't know if when I was in high school we had ROTC, so I didn't know if that was something like you had already experienced, and then got you. So Langston didn't have it. You did it through UCO, and you were part of. How did you end up in ROTC?
I know. I told my mom. I said, "Mom, I'm going to college. I'm going to Langston University, Mom." She said, "Okay." I said, "I need you to fill out my financial aid paperwork." And it was shocking to me. I knew my mom loved me, but she told me, "Hey, I'm not filling that paperwork out. You're trying to be better than everybody else." And it crushed me. Not that my mom didn't want to see me do well. Just think she didn't want me to be disappointed if I didn't make it.
Gotcha.
So I went down and then told a white lie and said, "Hey, I didn't know where my mom and dad was at," to the courthouse. They made me a ward of the court. So I got to fill out my own paperwork.
Now, was this in Bethany or Oklahoma City?
This is when I was 17 years old.
Okay, but no, where were you living at at this time?
At this time I had moved to I was in the Northwest class.
Okay, got you.
Northwest side of town.
Got you. And so you did that, and then ROTC came into play?
Yeah, I said I went to college. I said I'm going to college, so I wanted to make sure I had some money for college.
Got you.
So I joined the National Guard.
Got you. Okay.
So I had to defer. And I had to defer the first year of college. And you got to take your scholarship when you post it. So I had to get permission to say, hey, I'm a class of 90, but I won't come to 91 because I went to basic and AIT.
Got you.
So I was in the National Guard initially.
Got you.
While I was in college. And I loved it so much, I wanted to join ROTC. Langston had a memorandum of understanding with UCO, so I joined the ROTC program. So I wasn't an average college student. I had money coming in from ROTC, from the National Guard. Refunds.
Wait a second. You was big baller. Wait a second. So you had enlisted, and then you joined the ROTC?
Yeah, I was enlisted. Then I came to Langston, and while I was in Langston, I joined the ROTC program.
Yeah. No, it just feels bad because like most people I know like went through ROTC, then enlisted, but you were enlisted and then joined ROTC. But what was the benefit of doing those two things together, and like was there a conflict of interest? I guess not. You did it.
It was shocking to some because when I didn't know about JR, Junior ROTC.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
So I didn't have it in my high school. I knew I needed some money, so I joined the National Guard.
Yeah.
And then while I was in there, I said, hey, they got an ROTC program at UCO. Langston has a MOA. I said, oh, man, I joined it.
Yeah.
They asked me did I want a scholarship, and I didn't need it because I was already taken care of. I had a scholarship from Langston. I had an academic scholarship from Langston. I had National Guard pay. I had ROTC pay. I was good. I was all right.
No, that's super cool. Man, there's so much. So within that time, there's so many questions. I'm like, oh, my goodness, where do I go from here? Well, first, I want to go because I do have some connections with, like, high school students. I go speak at schools and things like that. Talk to me about getting that academic scholarship. Was that in high school? Were you just – because I always tell people, like, there's some kids who are just naturally gifted with schooling. They can get through. Did you have to work at it to get those types of grades? What was that like for you? Were you disciplined in that? How did you land that scholarship?
That's a good question. I was disciplined, and it came easy to me. I didn't even know. I was just going to school and doing doing my work.
Yeah.
And then Juanita Golf and Miss Wyatt here at Langston saw my grades. They was like, man, you can't get a McCabe because I didn't score well on the ACT.
Got you.
So I had to get, the Regents scholarship. And it was funny. I got that at Northwest class, and I had like 750 in my graduating class. And I was like 155.
Okay.
I finished in the top whatever percentile. I don't know what that is. So they gave me a scholarship. Went through Langston, joined organizations, and then it was funny. I had corporate America on my tail through instructors and professors from Langston that set up saying, "You're gonna be all right." But they was all upset with me because I denied that all those job offers, and then I joined. I went on active duty.
Oh.
I got my commission from UCO.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
yeah,
graduated on the 5th of May in Langston, and then on the 12th of May, I received my commission to go on active duty as a second lieutenant.
So when did you know that you were like, okay, I'm not going to go and do the traditional thing. I'm going to go into the military, even though I'm getting a degree?
I knew my senior year.
Okay.
But I wasn't telling my instructors that.
Yeah.
Because
they would have been on you about it. They would have been like, no, you need,
don't go.
Yeah. That's cool, man. And thank you for serving our country.
Thank you for your support.
Big time for that. Okay, so tell me real quick. We're gonna go back a little bit. We're gonna go back to some elementary days.
Okay.
What would people say that knew you as a kid? How would they describe you?
Some would say I was a bully, but I weighed 100 pounds. I don't know how you can be a bully. I think I was just demanding.
Okay.
I was a smart one in the group, so everyone listened to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I would tell people, "You're gonna do this," and they'd be like, "I'm not doing it." "Yeah, you're gonna do this." I wasn't a bully. I didn't know how to bully. I didn't know what that was. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't a bullying type. I was a take charge kind of guy.
Mm-hmm. Which can kind of, going back to some of the stuff that we teach with the colors, like when somebody's a red, you got to just be aware of that.
Right.
So yeah, I got you.
So some of them would say he was a good kid, good guy, real quiet. Some would say I was a pretty good athlete, but I didn't play organized sports. Some would say he's shy, quiet. You got to make him talk.
Yeah. So the making the talk thing, you said that once you went to Upper Bound and started doing some of those type of programs, you became more outspoken and communicated more and not shy and reserved?
Right. That program's designed. It's designed to bring you out of your shell, and it definitely brought me out of my shell.
Good.
Different programs that they had. You had leadership stuff to do. You know what I'm saying? You had to talk up, and it forced me.
That's good. So you go into the military. I know this. You retire from the military. 23 years in the military. You mentioned that earlier. What were some things in the military that you now continue to use even though you're retired? What are some things that you learned in there?
My organizational skills, people skills, being a leader. And I see a leader as being a positive influence.
Gotcha.
You can be a leader and still have negative influence.
Yeah.
Positive influence, having people follow you because they want to, having people work with you because they want to, not because they have to.
Are there some of those things that you've seen that you've taken from the military? Is there some daily things that you work at being consistent at in order to be a better leader, to create that influence to where people want to be around you? You know what I'm saying? Are there some things that you kind of have said, okay, I need to be intentional in this and be consistent?
Yeah, absolutely. And a couple of things are being always showing empathy. I always speak. I'm always polite and respectful. Those things I think help people trust in you, help people believe in what you're saying. And then I just got a natural, God gave me a gift, man. Just people believe in me, and it's scary sometimes. I've been, people wanted me to do this and do that, and I didn't believe in myself. And, and they saw it in me, but I didn't see it in me. But yeah, it's some things that I've learned that I still do. Like I wake up, I plan, I write a list out, a to-do list the night before.
How does that help you in being a better leader?
Because it helps me focus on
Gotcha.
today's.
Gotcha.
Each day is a mission for me.
Yeah.
I don't look at each day as a day. Days are missions. What's my mission for today? Mm-hmm. These are the tasks that I got to do to accomplish my mission. Mm-hmm. And if I don't accomplish my mission, I didn't do too good in my day.
Yeah.
Not necessarily didn't fail. I didn't have a productive day.
No, I hear you. So thinking about that, there's a couple of things I want to ask. First, though, because you're able to plan your day, I look at leadership as like a serving. Like, I think when somebody talks to me about being a leader, I'm like, being a leader is just serving people, right? Whatever the mission is or wherever we're trying to take people to, it's all about serving them, putting them up front, and pushing them forward. When I hear you say that you make a list every day to be intentional with your day, it tells me, like, because of my list, I'm able to serve people better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because that focus allows for me not to be everywhere.
Right.
Like, I can be one of those people. I can be everywhere, and because of my everywhereness, I sometimes don't serve well.
Right.
I don't communicate with my team effectively. I'm not there for them in some of those challenging times if I'm not planning and give myself that space. Mm-hmm. That's what I hear you saying in that. And then when you make that list, is there an app or are you writing it down?
I'm old school.
You writing it down?
I write it down.
I knew you was writing it down.
Yeah.
I just asked because I just wanted to hear you say it, but I knew that I could feel it.
I have a little 3x5 cards, and I write them down. I put a box, then the task, a box, then the task.
So you write the box out?
Yeah.
So how do you carry over from the next day? So if you don't get all that stuff done, do you carry over? Yeah. You write those things down?
I carry it over and then start a new list below it. Everything I did. If I have 10 things on my list and I got 6 of them done, those other 4 are topping my list for the next day.
Got you. You should write some kind of book that says that has something to do with list and leadership. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
If that's something that you feel devoted to, like, how do you build? Because I feel like that's a book.
Yeah.
List and leadership are.
Yeah.
How creating lists makes you the best leader. I don't know.
Yeah. No. It's funny you say that because I've been told that 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
To write a book in terms of leadership.
You should, and I think you should start with my friend Derek. Is that over there? Is that book over there? Do you know Derek Sire?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he wrote a book called it's something list. I can't remember the exact name, but
is that right?
Yeah. Around list, but. That's good, man. So let's talk real quick because I don't want to take up too much of your time here. So I know that you end up going to the military, spending 23 years, and then at some point when you leave out of the military, by this time you're married with a family. How long you been married now?
I've been married now 10 years. Carrie and I, we went to high school together, but I was too quiet. She'll tell you. I never said anything to her.
You didn't holler.
No.
You didn't holler anything.
She was waiting on me too.
Oh man, you be like, man, I voted on this 40 years ago.
Yeah. I married young, and that comes with the piece of not having a father. I probably shouldn't have got married. Not saying I didn't love my father's mom's mother.
Your kid's mother.
My kid's mother.
Yeah.
We're divorced. We were married for 10 years. We got married right out of Langston, went on active duty. But I married because I was having a child, and I didn't want to go on active duty alone because I wasn't self-sufficient. I was a good provider, but I wasn't self-sufficient. I knew how to make money, but I didn't know how to wash clothes, cook, clean.
Got you.
I needed her to be with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but with that, you have children.
Yes, sir.
And how many children do you have now?
I have 5. I have 2 biological, Marlon and Michael, and I have 3 bonus kids.
Got you. What's the age range?
Marlon is 27. Michael is 22. Marlon's in the Army, 6 years in the Army. He graduates from Oklahoma Baptist University in December. Then my bonus kids is 26, 25, and 17.
Okay.
Victoria, Casey, and Nicholas.
So all of your kids are kind of out of the house or close to it?
No, everybody's out except Nicholas.
Really?
Yeah.
Has anybody came back home?
No, I want them to. I don't want to be an empty nester.
Yeah, with that being said, you have also fostered.
Yeah.
Right? And tell me about your experience fostering.
Oh man, I absolutely enjoyed being a foster parent. it was funny at first talking my wife into it because she just, she grew up a certain way, and I grew up a certain way. She had family. She had a big family. I didn't have a big family. I knew what mentors and having somebody meant. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to be that to somebody. My wife wasn't really all in on taking other people's issues. I looked at it as blessing her family. She was like, "Man, we never know what you're getting."
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
True, yeah,
which is true. So yeah, I had 2 foster kids for about 2 or 3 years, Brandon and Joshua, and it was funny that there were 2 Caucasian kids.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so we go places. People be like,
"What's going on?"
Yeah,
here?
they ask the kids, "Are y'all okay?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
didn't take offense to it.
Are you supposed to? Yeah,
because you want them to look out for kids.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Because I mean, it's the same way when you see black kids with
White
couples
foster
with white,
parents.
white foster parents, and so I think you just naturally, or anytime you see a kid that's not the same ethnicity as whoever they're with, there can become this awareness, like, all right, what's going on here, kind of thing. How did you get into fostering?
Fostering was, I got a love to serve like you. Mm-hmm. So my way of serving was through philanthropy efforts, through volunteerism, serving on boards, and then what kids needed help. I start seeing. I ran into somebody one time and said, "Marlon, man, you have a giving heart. Blah blah blah. You should think about extending that to kids who may need you." And they introduced me to it. So we started before we got permanent kids. We actually had kids that would just randomly get. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They would be here for a few months, 6 months.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? And then they'd be going back. And then we just finally said, "Hey, we want to take on some kids."
And so that experience much different than the kind of the having a flow of kids coming in and out.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're permanent. What's the difference in between those two things?
Okay, so sometimes the difference is sometimes kids can have an emergency, and they need to be they're pulled out of their family for whatever reason, and they need to stay here. They're in the system now, so they gotta. Hey, do you mind if these kids stay with you until we find them a home? So they can be 3 months in and say, hey, they ready to go back. The investigation's complete. They going back home. Or you got some that says, hey, they can stay here 6 months. They're there 6 months because the court says it's taking a little bit longer for them to come back. And then you have some that they're just waiting to be adopted. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then
so the ones that are waiting to be adopted, those are the ones that give and they say, hey, you're going to keep these children until they're adopted?
They encourage you to try to adopt them.
Oh, they try to get you to adopt.
Yeah,
okay, got you.
My wife wasn't trying to adopt, so I'm trying to talk her into adopting.
Yeah, you've been saying that. I've heard you say that a few times. Did you feel like the way that you approached fostering was different whenever you had the children that were there more long term versus the ones that were coming in and out? Did you feel yourself having to make adjustments?
I had to make adjustments with my kids because they would see the different dynamic. Yeah. Well, why you let them get away with that? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Or why the rules were rules, but some they got a little bit they got leniency. They got more grace than regular kids our kids. Because it was certain situations, and I had to explain to them, Yeah. I said, do you have a home to go to? They'd be like, yeah. I said, what about them? And they'd be like, well, no. Yeah. You got to kind of wake them up a little bit. But, yeah, but my approach was I just treated everybody the same, like they were just mine. Yeah. So I never looked at it differently. I just looked at it as, hey, welcome home. Mm-hmm. This is your home. Mm-hmm. These are the rules. Mm-hmm. This is where you eat, sleep. Yeah. Go to school, go to church. Yeah. And we'll be all right.
That's good. Mm-hmm. That's good. What are some things, being a father, biological or foster, like what are some things that you've learned that you need to be consistent in to be the best father?
I think the way you approach each child, because everybody's different. Mm. You can have your standard set of rules, but I think the way you approach them in terms of discipline will always be different. Conversations can be the same. I always learn to because we didn't have a voice growing up. Mm-hmm. kids today have a voice. We was told when to talk and when to shut up, and that's what we did.
Yeah, that was the done deal.
But now I've learned when I foster in my biological kids, my bonus kids, I ask questions and let them tell me the answers that I already know. So why do you think we need to talk? Why do we have this conversation? Why are we having this conversation? Because I did this. Well, what do you think your punishment should be? I didn't ever give the punishment. What do you think your punishment should be? Well, why did you do this? How can we fix this moving forward? So I always made them talk to me through questions. So I approached that with everybody. So it was never different. So, it was, whether you was my biological child, my bonus child through a blended family, or your foster child, the rules were the same. It was through conversation and communication. And you had to tell me, you had to answer the mail on all of it. I didn't answer the mail for you.
Yeah, that's good. I really like that. What is a funny story that you have that with one of your children that stands out to you?
Bonus, Joshua was really mad that I didn't know how to make a mohawk.
Oh, this is one of your bonus kids.
One of my foster kids.
Foster kids, okay.
And they said they're not going to school unless they can have a mohawk. So I had to call one of my Caucasian friends and say, hey, man, I need to be dad of the year. Right now I'm failing, man. How can you help me make mohawks, make Joshua and Brandon's hair into a mohawk? He came over with all the stuff, went to Walmart and bought all the stuff.
That's so cool.
And then I was able to do it, and it was the best thing in the world to them. You know what I'm saying?
That is so cool. Yeah. The funny thing is, of course I'm African American, so maybe this stands out more to me. But I always think more about the white parents who are fostering African American kids, black kids, in their hair. I never think about the reverse, like a black person trying to manage a white kid's hair, and what is that? Yeah, and so that's a cool story. What's something? Do you remember a pivotal moment for one of your kids, biological or foster, when they were about to make a transition, and how you kind of helped guide them through that? Do you remember anything like that? Leaving out of high school, making a decision on which college to go to, or going to the military? Like, did you ever have to help any of your children with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I told them they had 5 choices.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you can go to college, you can go to the military, you can go to a trade school, you can go college, military, trade school, entrepreneurship, or working for the government.
You said one of those 5.
One of those 5. So what's your plan? Which one is it? And then whenever they decided, I said, okay, so how are we going to get there? You got to have 2. You got to have a primary and an alternate.
Gotcha.
So what's your avenue? What's your pathway to getting there? How are you going to get there? How are you going to the Army? How are you going to college? What college we going to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I've lived long enough to know sometimes that's challenging, right?
Yeah.
What did you do when it seemed to be like hard to get them to make a decision on one of those things, or when they did try, it didn't turn out well? Was there anything in particular that you remember on that?
Yeah, I made them go through this. I created something because I mentor kids like you do, and I call it Marlons Top 5. And you gotta Google the top 100 careers. You gotta choose 10. The step 1 is Google the top 100 and look at all of them, 1 through 100. Step 2, you got to pick 10 from that 100. Step 3 is you got to pick 5, and then you got to research 5. You got to write 1 to 3 paragraphs on all 5. Step 4 is you got to select 2, the primary and alternate, and then select 5 was pathway to getting there. So when they made after they brought that back to me, I said, okay, so what's the steps we got to do? What we got to do to get you there? How can we help? And then some would not want to do it at all. Like my 17-year-old at home, he doesn't want to do any of it.
Yeah.
He thinks he's just going to stay there. I said, hey, you graduate and walk across the stage, your suitcase is going to be packed unless you have a plan. If you have a plan, they don't have to be packed. You can stay as long as you need.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a plan, they got to be packed.
So at least have a plan, and then you can stay.
Yeah.
And then we'll work on it from there.
Yeah.
Got you. No, I love that. I love that because I just know sometimes it's really hard.
It is.
For people to sit down and kind of making a decision for some people is just challenging.
Right.
Especially on those kind of things. And you get so fearful. So it's good to hear, like, yeah, you may sometimes have to give them a little bit of extra encouragement, like, oh, you got to leave.
Yeah.
Would you really make them leave?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And because I
have
tell
you
them,
done it yet?
I was fearful. No, I haven't. I was fearful.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get out there into the world.
Yeah.
But I know if we don't push them,
Yeah.
they'll stay
Yeah.
and be comfortable and won't push themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And once you get out there, it comes together.
Yeah.
It comes
does.
together. No, it really does.
Mm-hmm.
Been married 10 years. Tell us how y'all in high school you met, but you didn't tell me how you rekindled.
Oh, yeah.
Well, in high school you knew each other. Just give me the 60 seconds. We got to at least talk about how you had to chase her down or what it looked like.
Yeah, we reconnected on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in 2009.
Okay.
I found her in 2009.
Now, were you looking for her on Facebook?
Yeah, something just said, type in Carrie Robinson. And I
Okay.
started looking, and there she was.
So did you DM her, as they would say, but you really messaged her on Facebook?
I sent her both.
Okay.
I sent her a friend request, and she accepted. Then I was like, hey, it's been so long. I ain't seen you since high school, the 10th grade.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, yeah. I said, what's going on? We start catching up, giving the family dynamics. I was divorced. She was in the middle of the divorce.
Okay.
And then when she, I stopped. That was it. Then as she divorced, I inboxed her. I said, hey, you divorced? She said, yeah. I said, well, I'm going to fly you out here to D.C. Come hang out. She said, okay. So I would send her tickets and to come see me, and I would come to Oklahoma because I was living there. I was stationed there in the Army.
Okay.
I was stationed there in the Army, so we would go back and forth. We had a long-distance relationship from like 2010 to 2012. Then we got married in 2012.
Nice. Well, that's super cool. Did you think that you were going to marry her whenever you Facebooked her?
Oh, I knew in 6 months after I started dating I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife and I, we dated 6 months, then we got married 3 months later. Yeah. Well, we hung out for 6 months. We said we weren't calling it dating, but yeah. No, that's good. That's really good. So just real quick, we got to touch on this. You're now back at your alma mater in a role, AVP. Tell people about what that looks like for you and how excited you are to be back, to be working for your alma mater.
Yeah, I lost a lot of sleep because I've been in military/government my whole life. You got to mention 17 years old, and when I retired, I was working at Tinker Air Force Base. While I was at Tinker, I was teaching at OU, but I'm saying I'm gonna retire from Tinker, and President Smith asked me, "Do I want to come home?" And I tossed and turned for a couple of weeks. And then I accepted because I knew that's what God wanted me to be. And now I serve as the Assistant Vice President of Institutional Advancement and External Affairs, where I kind of wear 3 hats. It's a multi-title position, where as the AVP, I'm in charge of fundraising, bringing dollars in, creating partnerships from Langston to the world, people with alumni, with corporate America, with any organization that believes in what Langston stands for. My job is to go out there and establish those relationships and see if they get back. Another one was I'm the site administrator where I run the campus, the Oklahoma City campus, where I look at the graduate degrees that we offer and some reach higher degree. Undergraduates, and those are limited to non-traditional students.
Okay.
Non-traditional students meaning those that got about 60 hours already, and they just want to go back and finish because they're working.
Gotcha.
We don't really serve yet those from a freshman standpoint. You got to go down to the main campus.
Okay, because you're at the Oklahoma City campus. Okay.
And I serve as the executive director of the Langston University Foundation.
That's cool, man. Well, that's so exciting. How can people support you in that role?
Man, they can support in many ways. Contact me and say, hey, tell me more about Langston. How can I help? Or where do you need support? And where we need a lot of support from, believe it or not, we have a lot of people that have endowments with Langston that I see and I get to control and work through them. Like we had a Heady Coleman endowment. your funds are specific. Say I only want my $50,000 going to kids from Guthrie. They have restrictions, 2.8 or higher. Where I need help is we have students like that we know are going to go and do well in life, but they have a balance.
Gotcha.
And I got a $500 balance. I got a $2,000 balance. I need to help them be able to say, hey, here's a scholarship.
Yep.
And pays for your balance and keep them in school. When they're restricted, I can't touch them. I got to work through the Heady Coleman Foundation. I mean, the Heady Coleman Endowment. And you tell me when I give your scholarship money out. But when it's going to the general fund, I can give those dollars to students that are in need right then and there.
Gotcha. And there's probably a lot of that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, a lot of kids students who probably just has that $5,000 balance or whatever it may be that needs that support. So there's ways that people can support that and just need to reach out to you and contact you. In our show notes and everything, we'll have your phone, whatever you want to give us to make sure that people can contact you, man. Hey, man, I appreciate you sitting down with me, man.
It was a pleasure.
Man, that was a joy. We need to sit down again and just kind of follow up and just talk probably about your role, how we can help students, or talk about mentoring, or continue to talk about fatherhood or whatever that is, man. So deeply appreciate you, Marlon. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for hitting that play button for another episode of the Heady Coleman Podcast. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, go win.
I love that mantra.